What to eat and drink during bike rides. I have found that if you ask a group of cyclists what they eat and drink on a ride, you'll get almost as many different answers as there are people in the group. It is perfectly normal for everyone to feel their rides a little differently, which is perfectly normal. When it comes to cycling nutrition and hydration, there are no one-size-fits-all solution. However, there are a few key principles that cyclists should start with to determine their nutrition and hydration needs. Once we discuss the principles, I'll give you recommendations for short, medium, long, and ultra-long rides. Nutrition principles to remember when cycling. Nutrition strategy is driven by water. In order for your nutrition strategy to be effective, you need to be properly hydrated, no matter what you eat or how much you eat. If you are dehydrated, those calories will either make it to your working muscles more slowly or stay in your gut long enough to cause nausea. A dehydrated state slows down the gastric emptying process and slows the motility of the intestines. It is a small detriment at first, but if you are dehydrated, it becomes progressively worse. High-intensity exercise is fueled by carbohydrates. The time and place to train with low carbohydrate stores is not the same for everyone. In contrast, when it is time to work hard during interval workouts or competitions, those high-intensity efforts are fueled by carbohydrate. When you do not have carbohydrate available, your power output, the ability to repeat hard efforts, and the likelihood of success all diminish. Cycling is an intermittent intensity sport, meaning that there are periods of low to moderate intensity that are fueled primarily by fat, as well as moments of high-intensity activity that require carbohydrates. Also, interval workouts that build the physical fitness necessary to make those high-power efforts possible are fueled by carbohydrates. Therefore, cycling nutrition during rides is influenced not only by the length of the ride, but also by the intensity demands. Don't overdo it on carbs. Based on the fact that most people can only absorb about 1 gram of carbohydrate per minute, the standard sports nutrition recommendation is 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrate per hour of aerobic exercise. It doesn't mean that you should always consume as much as you can possibly absorb. You should aim for the high end of the range, or train your gut to absorb up to 90 grams an hour when your rides are long or strenuous enough to deplete your carbohydrate stores. A rider's hourly kilocalorie output is a better indicator of carbohydrate intake. As a cyclist that rides with a power meter, I recommend consuming enough carbohydrates calories to replace 20–30% of the kilojoules you are burning per hour. As an example, 500 kilojoules per hour is a significant amount of energy expended by a medium-sized, moderately fit male cyclist jogging at a sustainable endurance pace. During rides longer than 90 minutes, I recommend this rider consume 1 to 150 calories of carbohydrate 25–37 grams per hour. If that same rider is racing, or in a fast group doing 800 kilojoules of work per hour, then 40–60 grams of carbohydrate per hour may be necessary. If, however, you don't have a way to monitor your kilojoules, don't concern yourself about what I just said. Just ride, snack, and drink following these simple suggestions. The risk of overeating outweighs the risk of undereating. If you are riding a bike, it is better to be a little hungry rather than to be overstuffed. Overeating is one of the most prevalent mistakes that I see during longer rides. If you eat more than you need or can process quickly, it means the food hangs around in your gut for too long. If that happens, you may feel nauseated, adding to the difficulty of the situation. The only remedy involves slowing down, cooling down, sipping water, and waiting. If you err on the side of being slightly hungry, you can quickly and easily get back to feeling great by eating carbohydrates. For example, if you are well hydrated, fixing a slight caloric deficit only takes about 10 minutes and about 25 grams of carbs. Calories and hydration should be separated. Carbohydrate-rich sports drinks can be very useful, but like everything else, there is a time and place for them. Consider how much you'll need to drink when choosing what to drink. Your hydration needs will increase dramatically in hot weather, but your ability to absorb carbohydrates will not. If your hydration is in your bottles and your calories are in your pockets, you can adjust your intake independently based on temperature and intensity. Keeping all of what I mentioned in mind, here is what you should eat and drink for any ride. Any length of ride can be fueled. Short rides up to 75 minutes. Hydration, plain water. Calories, none. When it has been 24 hours or more since your last strenuous workout, Your muscle glycogen stores should be fully replenished. If you have full glycogen stores on board, you have more than enough carbohydrate to fuel you for a short ride. Then, since short rides tend to be very intense, such as indoor interval workouts or criteriums, you're not going to be able to digest food very well anyway. The most important thing is to replenish your fluids, since in a hot, high-intensity hour, you can sweat out up to 1.5 liters of fluid. You don't need to consume a huge meal after your ride, but consuming a small meal rich in carbohydrates with a moderate amount of protein within 30 to 60 minutes after your ride will help replenish glycogen. Medium rides 1 to 3 hours. Hydration. Water and electrolyte-rich sports drink. Calories 20 to 30% of hourly energy expenditure if drinks. If energy expenditure is unknown, recommended calorie and electrolyte-rich sports drink. 8 intensity rides. Shift more to simple sugars from chewables or gels as intensity increases. Rationale for cyan electrolyte-rich sports drink. Veli shown to improve performance in intermittent intensity sports like cycling. Sustainable and electrolyte-rich sports drink I recommend, and use fluid hydration. Hard efforts improves. After the ride, you'll definitely want a moderate drinks I use and recommend fluid hydration. And fat within 60 minutes after the ride. Save recovery drinks for rides that accumulate more than 15 kilojoules of work, or for times when you will be training hard again within the same day or less than about 18 hours. Long rides 3 to 6 hours. Hydration. Prefer an electrolyte-rich sports drink from hydration when anticipating hot weather or high intensity. Calories 20 to 30% of hourly energy expenditure. If energy expenditure is unknown, recommended calorie and electrolyte-rich sports drink. And sports nutrition bars I recommend Pro Bar Bite. Save the chewables and gels for the last third of the ride. After the ride, electrolyte-rich sports drink with a carbohydrate-rich recovery drink if you're not going to be able to get a meal right away. Or if you're doing a multi-day event, you don't need to gorge yourself, especially if you are eating properly on the bike. It is better to have a regular-sized meal and continue snacking and hydrating throughout the afternoon. Evening. Consider a pre-bedtime snack to fuel muscle protein from hydration when anticipating hot weather or high intensity. Calories 20 to 30% of hourly energy expenditure if known. 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrate per hour if energy expenditure is unknown. Be conservative with caloric intake because it's easy to overload the gut as rides get very long. Recommended calorie and electrolyte-rich sports drink. Rationale for cycling nutrition during long rides. For the big challenges, the intensity of very long rides is generally moderate. As a result, your ability to absorb carbohydrate fast enough is rarely a problem. Having a variety of flavors, textures, and craveable foods is key. The best nutrition strategy in the world is useless when you'd rather not eat than eat what's in your pocket. A sports drink with electrolytes should be taken in addition to water and a good meal. Oftentimes, riders just totally shut off their brains at the finish of an extra long ride. Instead, wait until you change, shower, and eat before considering the ride finished. Push through and stay focused until those tasks are complete, and you'll feel a lot better the next morning. Consider a pre-bedtime snack to fuel muscle protein synthesis overnight. As I started this video saying, we're all different in our needs and what we take on a ride. I would be interested in what you have found when you are out on a ride. Please let me know in the comments, as well as ask any question you have about this video. If you haven't subscribed, please do so to be reminded when I post a new video. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the roads and trails. This has been Gary's Resolve.